Imagine two letters causing a claim rejection. This is a case that we encountered a few months back, and I thought this is a case that most people should know simply because there's a lot of lessons to learn and also to understand how to navigate claim related cases when it hits you in unexpected ways, right? So let me go back to this case. This individual had bought a health insurance policy through Ditto roughly around November 1st week, right? I think it was around November 7th, 2023, last year. And they bought a family floater policy, which means they included themselves, their spouse, and their child. And in this case, the child was actually an adult. They were, I think, 19 years old, right? They had bought the policy and everything was fine for about a month. But after a month, they had to make a claim. Now, I'll tell you the sequence of events leading up to the claim, right? So in this case, the individual who had bought the policy saw that his son needed LASIK surgery. If you don't know what LASIK surgery means, let me simply give you an example. I am short-sighted, which means in long distances, I can't see everything very clearly. So I need spectacles in most cases. Obviously, I do these videos without spectacles, but generally I probably need spectacles. And if I do not want to wear spectacles and I want to fix this short-sightedness, one thing that I can do is get a LASIK procedure done. They'll fix my eyesight, and usually it's a relatively expensive procedure, but it will fix your eyesight for life, or at least for a few years you won't have any issues, right? So this gentleman noticed that his son had an issue with sight, and they figured that LASIK was a procedure that could help his eyesight considerably. So they visited the hospital, and right around December 25th, I believe, 2023, after about a month of buying the policy, and they asked us if LASIK procedures are covered. And LASIK procedures are generally not covered. However, in this case, what also happened was when they went to the doctor noticed that this individual had tears in their retina, right? Or there was detachment, as they call it. The diagnosis was there was retinal detachment and tears, and they recommended surgery. Now, this was something that the customer did not know, right? The customer knew that his son had problems with eyesight, but he did not know that he had a tear in his retina and it required urgent surgery. And so he decided to get the procedure done at Narayan Nethralaya. And they made an intimation for a cashless claim because this was part of the network hospital from the insurer's end, right? And the insurer, as it would happen, would reject the cashless claim. Now, their rationale actually made a lot of sense at first, right? They're saying, look, this gentleman bought the policy just a month ago and now they're making a claim all of a sudden. And it seems that it's related to the eye and they went to get a LASIK procedure done. Usually eyesight is not an issue that crops up in one day, right? You'll probably have the issue manifest over many years. So they said, we need more investigation, right? We need to do a thorough investigation. So we will not be able to approve the cashless claim. Instead, the customer, once they finish the procedure, they can submit all their reports and perhaps apply for reimbursement, right? We'll evaluate the case then and hopefully the claim goes through then. And we explained this to the customer, and the customer was reasonable enough to understand that yes, this case came just after a month of buying the policy, and obviously there was the issue with LASIK. Although they were not going to claim for LASIK per se, because LASIK is not covered by insurance companies unless your eyesight is really, really bad. And the bar for that is set very high, and we had communicated this to the client as well. This was a separate diagnosis that they found in the process, right? So they found that this person also had tears, so they said, okay, we can consider that claim. And so the cashless claim was rejected at the time, and the individual went ahead with the procedure. They paid the money directly, and now they were hoping that the reimbursement claim would go through, and they were in constant touch with us as well. And we were in touch with the insurance company trying to get a closure on this matter. Now, the insurance company comes back to us and say, look, we've gone over the matter. This is after a few days, I think. This is probably after a couple of weeks. So they come back and say, we've gone through the case, we've looked at it, and we feel that basis the diagnosis reports and the consultation papers that we've received from the customer, this is a case of non-disclosure of a pre-existing disease, right? And in cases of non-disclosure, right, insurers do not have to pay the claim, A, but they can also cancel the policy. Now, this insurer did not cancel the policy. Instead, they said, look, we found this to be a non-disclosure of a pre-existing disease. We will not pay the claim, but if the customer wants, we can get this included as a pre-existing disease. The waiting periods will apply. we'll probably ask them to pay a higher premium, but then we will cover this after the waiting period. So we won't cancel the policy. It's a family floater because so many other people are covered. So that's okay. But this claim won't be paid. So we asked the insurance company, and the customer also wanted to know, what is this pre-existing condition, right? Where was the disclosure made and how did they find out? And they said in the consultation paper, the doctor had written that the individual had something called as pigment glaucoma for 2 years. And this was not disclosed while buying the policy. So we said, oh, pigment glaucoma, let's go through the reports. Let's see why this mention was made and where this mention was made. Now the customer reached out to us and said, and they were speaking to one of our executives, Ankit, and they said, Ankit, look, I'm telling you, this wasn't an issue, right? My son does not have pigment glaucoma, and the doctor also says the same thing. So I don't know what the insurance company is talking about. So we had to independently verify it now, right? And Ditto, we obviously go to great lengths to make sure that the claim process is as smooth as possible. So we went and looked at the documents and we saw, where is this mentioned, right? Where is this said? And it wasn't mentioned anywhere. However, it was mentioned in the report that it was strange, right? They said that the customer had arrived at the hospital trying to get a LASIK surgery done. But then there was also another mention right below saying PG, the letters PG since 2 years. And we said, okay, what is this PG? And the insurance company said, well, we've interpreted it to be pigment glaucoma. But now the customer is saying, it's not pigment glaucoma. My son doesn't have pigment glaucoma. And so we went to the treating doctor. We told them, okay, the hospital would know best, right? The treating doctor would know best what PG means because he wrote the report. What did he mean when he said PG? So he said, no, it was not pigment glaucoma. Instead, the doctor now says that he meant prescription glasses since 2 years. So he's saying PG does not mean pigment glaucoma, it's prescription glasses. So we thought, okay, let's get this from the treating doctor in a letterhead, specifically from the hospital, and we'll provide this information to the insurance company so that they can reevaluate the case, right? So we did that, right? The treating doctor provided a certificate saying, look, PG does not mean pigment glaucoma, it means prescription glasses, and we sent it to the insurance company. The insurance company comes back and says, we feel now that there is some collusion going on between the customer and the doctor because we have grounds to believe that the hospital is lying, the doctor is lying, the customer is lying, and we still don't think that PG means prescription glasses. We believe it's pigment glaucoma. Now, at this point, we're stuck. The insurance company's interpretation is different. The doctor's interpretation is different. How do we get the claim to go through? So the first thing that we did was, look, we need more, details on this case. Right? So we independently consulted an ophthalmologist. We tried to figure out whether there was anything in the document to suggest that this individual had pigment glaucoma. And our assessment internally was that there was nothing to suggest pigment glaucoma, right? And once we got that assessment, we put together a few documents together and we requested the claims head from the insurance company to get on a call with us. Now, usually customers can't go to the insurance company and get, a claims head on a call, etc. And we can't either, right? But at least we can get some clarity from the insurance company on why this was declined. And we can petition the insurance company, we can petition the claims team to reconsider the case based on some other evidence, right, that we have, based on the documents that we have. So we sent them the supporting documents. We offered them further explanation on why this was not a non-disclosure, a case of non-disclosure because the individual did not have pigment glaucoma. And finally, after a lot of petition, etc., the insurance company came back and said, okay, we'll let go of the pigment glaucoma, but for us to process the claim, now we need additional documents from the individual, because if he's saying he has prescription glasses, give me the first consultation paper of the prescription glasses. Now, let me ask you, viewers, if you've ever been diagnosed with glasses, right? If you've ever been diagnosed with short-sightedness or any other form of sight issue and you wear prescription glasses, and I ask you, do you have the first consultation paper? Like, I'll ask myself, do I have the first consultation paper? I don't. I was diagnosed with this problem in 8th grade and I don't know when the first consultation paper I'd actually gotten. So how can this individual now produce that document? At this point, it felt like this was some degree of miscommunication from the insurance company and they're trying to drag on the case. So we put our foot down. So we went to the insurance company and we said, look, if this is how you're going to treat every case, it is incumbent on us to inform every customer also in the future that this is what this insurer will do, right? That they will go back and forth, etc. And this is not a good experience, right? And immediately this was escalated to senior management within the insurer's team. And finally, after multiple consultation, the insurance company came back and told us, fair enough, we do not need the consultation paper. It does not seem like the customer is trying to mislead us. We were wrong in our assessment that this was pigment glaucoma, so we will approve the case in good faith. They're basically saying, look, we don't need further documentation because we did mess up to a certain degree, and we'll make sure that the claim goes through. And after about a month of back and forth, the claim did go through. Now, this experience was bad for the customer, right? And the customer was obviously getting increasingly annoyed because it seemed like the onus was on them to prove that this was prescription glasses and not pigment glaucoma. 2 letters, right? And obviously from our point of view, we were trying our best, but it still took a good 1 month for us to submit the replies, make sure that we have the documentation to support our case, to build the case so that it doesn't go into grievance. And then the ombudsman, although we help our clients with that, look, that procedure can again last a few months, 2 months, 3 months. Nobody wants to go through that. So this was a case of successful resolution, but it still took a bit of time. So we thought we could actually talk about this case, not just because we want to explain how Ditto helped this one customer, but also talk about what customers can do on their own behalf, right? To make sure that these incidents don't crop up, right? So the first lesson is very obvious. It's to make sure that if your doctor has a consultation report prepared, has a diagnosis report prepared, has a discharge summary report prepared, make sure that you go through it once, or at least you get an agent, for instance, Ditto, to go through it once. If you're submitting it directly to the hospital, make sure that you tell them very clearly not to use abbreviations, because abbreviations are very hard to decipher. How will the insurance company know what the doctor had in mind? And this can cause a lot of problem, because this problem came just because there was those 2 letters, P and G, right? And 2 parties were debating on what PG meant. And obviously it was incumbent on the customer now to prove the case, because there was this issue about buying the policy just within 1 month and making a claim. Usually that looks a bit suspicious for the insurance company, so they need more documentation, and this PG created all of this mess. So if you're with a doctor, if you're with your treating doctor, make sure you tell them, you inform them to clearly specify what the diagnosis is in clear words, so that there's no issue from the insurance company, right? The second thing, the most important thing, is to make sure that if you find such issues, right, if you see that there are queries being triggered, and if you have an agent, right, please communicate this to the agent as soon as possible. This customer did just that. They got in touch with us. They asked us how to go about this, and we told them we'll communicate on their behalf, right? So they don't have to worry about it. They won't have to stress about it. How to build the case, how to actually petition with the insurance company. So this is the benefit that the customer had, because they did buy a policy through Ditto, and they had an agent who would actually go to those lengths. And obviously, as an advocate of Ditto, I'd want everyone watching this video to buy a policy through Ditto. But even if you're not buying a policy through Ditto, if you have a trusted agent in your neighborhood, in your locality, fine, but at least have somebody on your side who can petition on your behalf with the insurance company, because otherwise it can become increasingly hard, increasingly frustrating. And if you have an agent with leverage, somebody who has a lot of clients, somebody who's done this in the past, has experience, then that becomes even more, beneficial for you as a customer. And one question that we get with such videos is, why don't you name the insurance company, right? I could name the insurance company. However, there are legal implications for doing that. Because we work with these insurance companies, it's very difficult for us to name the insurance company per se. Now, some may also say, why don't you shame them? Right? That's exactly what we do. We go to the insurance company, we lobby them, we put our case, we try and work with them, we get agitated with them sometimes, we get angry, right? They're shouting matches occasionally. That's exactly what we do on behalf of the customers. And finally, us naming the insurance company, I don't think will add a lot of value, simply because this could happen with any insurance company. In fact, I remember going to the Ombudsman's website and looking at all the cases that were disputed. And you will find every insurer there, every health insurance company, bar none. It could happen with anybody. So I hope that the takeaway here is not just to look at that one insurance company and say, oh, you know what, this insurance company is bad, because it could happen with anybody. But the takeaway is that what can I do to make sure that my case is as robust as possible, as strong as possible, so that the insurance company then doesn't deny the claim. And what can I do as a customer, right? Having a trusted agent, Ditto, somebody else, that's up to you. That's your choice. Ultimately, it's about peace of mind. If you feel like you'll get peace of mind by buying a policy through a partner or through an agent that you've known for decades, you should do that. In fact, if you come to us and say, I'll buy through Ditto, but I have somebody who I've known for 20 years, our advisors would probably also say, maybe it makes sense to consider them, right? And I would want you to consider them. But the hope is that that's somebody who will fight on your behalf, who can represent your case and who will go to extreme lengths to make sure that they can tell the difference between PG pigment glaucoma and PG prescription glasses, right? So yeah, hopefully this video did give you a perspective on how insurance companies treat these issues and how to navigate them. And if you like the video, like always, leave a like on the video. And let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. Have you heard of similar cases like this, and how have they navigated it in the past, right? And that will give us a lot of perspective as well. So hopefully we can make more such videos and gain more insights on how to navigate such issues. Like always, thank you for watching this video, and I will see you again soon. Until then, happy insurance hunting.